It says going live. Hello. Hopefully it's good. Check. Looks good. Alright. So I made a post, community post, and surprisingly, I guess people want to see me work on the CCG monster, which is what I'm opening up right now. 1 second as I open up all these files and get everything open. Which is good because I had to test it tonight, but I'm kind of behind on testing it. So, or not, I'm behind on getting everything finalized for getting the assets ready before I can test it. So, let me just switch now to the other thing. Here we go. There we go. So, just opening it now. So I did a stream last week, no, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, where I streamed getting everything ready for doing this nemesis, or well, it's like a weird nemesis. It's like a it's like a quarry. Doesn't take up a nemesis. No, it doesn't replace a nemesis, but so it's in like a weird flux, like kind of like, like Flower Knight or something like that. It's like a weird node. But I streamed testing it, like playing it, and I took a whole bunch of notes. And I had to do a whole bunch of stuff, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do now that I need to get for the next test tonight. So let me right now. I gotta open up all this. All right, here we go. So, there we go. Hopefully it's viewable. Ugh, do I gotta deal with spam? Hopefully that will end itself, because I really don't want to deal with spam. Rather just ignore it. Ugh. Fun times. And remove. So much fun having to deal with stuff like that. Great. Isn't that fun? Having to moderate. Alright. Awesome. Alright, so there we go. So I have all kinds of stuff now that I have to get ready, which is great. Like I said, if I were to just stream season 3, I would more than willing be happy to do it. I was looking forward to playing, but this is also helpful because I have something I have to do before the game starts, so I won't be able to work on this, and there's a couple things I need to do prior to it that I really need to get like tested. So I have most of this stuff, the new stuff, all done. So this is I'm doing this in GIMP, but so there's like I have all the AI cards. I have access to all of them if I were to need them. I could just hide. They're all in a different layer. So see, I can remove the whole card. Then you just have a blank card. Then I can do whichever ones I need, but I need right now are the basics. Yeah, so like these are basic AI cards, and I've got a whole bunch of them. But basically what I need to do is filter through all these different cards and look for certain ones that have certain triggers on them for their after damage, and I need to change them because I've created different triggers for this monster. Like this one is a good one, which can probably be changed. Also, I need to adjust this. Yeah, you can see my cursor. This is a basic like attack modifier. Like this is the basic thing here with the speed, accuracy, damage, and trigger. But I need something else here. I want to add range to this, and I want to make it match the new ones. So I have hold on, let me open this up too. I have the new attack profiles. So let me open these up so I can get this. Let me see. Edit. Paste as new image. There. So these are the new attack. I can zoom in. These are from the Smog Singer. This is their new attack profiles. How Smog Singer works. So I need to get this. They've got the range attribute here off to the far left, and then it goes speed, accuracy, damage, and they've got these like triggers here because I guess there's going to be typing of damage, which is interesting, because there's ways to like view this. I know currently, like for after damage effects and stuff, brain damage is not considered brain damage, or brain damage is not considered damage because it's brain damage. Therefore, since it doesn't remove armor points, it's not real damage, which is the same with its vibration damage. Who knows how this is going to work, but if it doesn't remove armor points, then there's going to be a whole debate on whether or not like this type of damage is damage and triggers certain things. So that's very interesting. So I'm going to stay away from this because who knows how it will work. So I'm not going to bother with that kind of stuff. But this move into range and attack target. This is what I need to build now on these cards. So this is a bad example because this one does not have the movement attached to it. Let me go to another one. This one does. Move and attack target. So let me build that thing. This one has a big trigger on it too. It'd probably be best if I were to just edit the actual thing rather than edit the individual. So let me go down. This could be closed. Frequently used move and attack target. So this is what I should edit. There. That's the move and attack target. Actual attack profile of itself. This is what needs editing. Where is it? I can close it all. This crest doesn't need to be there. This doesn't need to be there. I think so. Yeah, if I'm going to edit just the attack profile itself, which is what I want to do, move and attack target, I don't need this, so this first can change here. And if I look at it again, the way they write it is move into range and attack target. So if I want that, I'm going to want move into range. Move into range and attack. So that looks not exactly correct. Let me zoom in. And let me go back to this. No, that's capital R. That is correct. Okay, so then it has range speed and the trigger. So we should move these around to get let's see. Alright, so yeah, we don't need this. So let me move this. So This is a 19. So which one is which? So this is the divider. So let me see the exact position of the divider. I can copy this. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. And we're going to bring it over here. And going to paste it behind here. Anything else but this. Okay. Zoom out. And we rescale this again. About right. Actually, you know what I'm just going to do? Put this down at the bottom. Okay. Let's see here. Move this now. So it's not a perfect overlay, which I can now see. I mean, it's pretty close, but pretty close. So it looks like it's you're gonna want this. So let me get these next for which one? I want, is it this layer? This layer. So we're gonna go ahead and copy this layer. Move this one now. To right about there. I think we can zoom in again. Yeah, I want it about right there. So let me go down to the next one. Looks like it wants it about here. Go down to the next one. Just looks to be about here. And this last one, which it wants about right there. Okay. And now just realized that I don't think I put into, so I want this to say with into range. There we go. So the spacing is not exactly accurate, but it is what it is. So we've got range to get added to this now. So we want to move speed to where it says speed. No, we don't want those. Speed, no. This speed. Wants to be here. Accuracy, which is next. Want about here. Yep. Damage. We want over here. Hold on. Some reason is chat really small? Yeah, let me move this. All right. So we want that about there. Move this over. Want that about there. Then we want after damage. Should we zoom out now? Where it says trigger, we want about there. All right. And we want to duplicate this layer. We want this to say something different. We want it to say RANGE. That's what we want. And we can delete everything else. And we want this over. To about there. All right. Now, for, let's see, the stats, speed, moved to here. Oh wait, no, this is speed. I need to duplicate this. So, okay. Now we're going to duplicate, and we're going to call this range. Okay, and we're duplicating this to move that there. Right, speed. Move this one over. Go about here. Accuracy about there. Looks just about right. Damage to go there. About right, and finally after damage trigger. So yeah, we want to move the after damage trigger. Looks all right. This now to right there. Yeah, right about there. Okay. Now we have ourselves a range attack profile like Smog Singers. So, or Smog Stalkers, or whatever they're called now. So, let me just save this. And now, whenever we need to do a move into range and attack target profile, we've made one. So I can add that on multiple cards. So, this pasted layer we don't need anymore. This can just be deleted. We don't need it. So, now what I want to do is completely duplicate this. So, completely duplicate this layer. And we're going to rename this layer. This is the move into range layer and attack target. There we go. Now we save one more time. Perfect. We can get rid of the one below this, and we can hide that for now. Well, we don't need to hide it. We can zoom out. There. Oh, it looks so good. Perfect. It's going to be so neat having this finally. So we can hide the frequently used. Now when I need it, I can call it up. I can see that I probably should adjust the range one slightly over. That's okay. I can look at that later. So, now let's get into what actually needs to be done. So this card can come back, basic card can come back, watermark comes back, background color comes back, image elements can be hid, that can be. So, okay. Now that I've got that done, we're going to put that on some cards so I can test that out. Other than that, the other thing we're going for is to put this on, go back to this and this. Okay. Sorry, it's hard to do all these different files. Let's go with, so from when I was testing it on the live stream before, the actual game, before there was just a single, where was it? We don't need basic, special monster cards. Before there was just these cards, right? These were the, this was the main thing for the monster, was this area, this zone here, that is always going to be within 1 to 2 spaces around the monster, which is called the Seething Vermin. So the way this monster works is this area is always like a spawn zone. So it's kind of like Spidicules, where Spidicules has the nest below him, and then the spiderlings come out of the nest. And then, well, there's also like egg sacs around and everything too. But so this just basically is going to act as that. So this is like the under the spiderling thing, and this will be the trait here that now spawns it. So you perform spawn, and then with spawn here, you place a monster number, a vermin swarm, in an unoccupied space within that zone of death that's always around the monster, which it always has, because it's just a trait. And then any survivor within that zone may spend 1 survival to prevent a spawn. So what this does is, I think this is, that's the old one. So this is Vermin Swarm. These are the main monsters that I was using in the play test. So those are, let me pull that up. Vermin Swarm. That's these monsters here. So it spawns these minions under, or always where you can spend survival to stop it from happening. And then what you want to do is you just want to keep killing all these monsters. And you get survival for killing them, so it's like a survival generator. But because it's spawning monster level of these every turn, Eventually you're either going to hope to kill the monster or it's going to keep spawning more than you can handle. So these are like the base tokens that this thing's always spawning, like just a whole bunch of just a swarm of monsters. Then at the end of each turn, no, this is at the start of the turn because monster minions attack at the end. So this needs to be at the start. So then he has this this trait that has this song that he plays. It's a constant thing that he plays at the start of every one of his turns, where any vermin swarm. So remove one. I gotta change this color so it's the same color. So one of those swarms. Description is that? Nope, that's the wrong one. This is this text layer. So this color. I don't know if I have that color there anymore. I'll have to go back and get whatever color that was. So one of those vermin swarms will be upgraded whenever he plays this, once per turn. So you remove one vermin swarm. So if there's any left on the board anywhere at all, you're going to replace it with the next stage. This Song of Generations will evolve it. And the current thinking is I'm going to have to make a strange vermin board, which is kind of like the Sunstalker has. The Sunstalker has a board that it tracks all of its AI cards as it does them, and then when it reaches a certain amount of AI cards, it triggers an effect. So this will be the same in theory, where you'd have a board which lays out an evolution, like an evolution chain, like a line, where it starts with Swarm, and then you get the first one for level 1, then there's like another level 1 one, so there's 2 that could possibly be evolved, and like level 2 will have 3 or 4 more that could evolve. Level 3 could have like, I don't know, could have up to like 10 or 12 of them, different ones, and then you'll randomly give them out, and you'll create the evolution chain as the monster levels up. So, each one of these triggers is what I'll have to go through. So, each one of these evolution chains is what it will eventually have to go through. So it always is going to start with a vermin swarm. And then I've created triggers that will also upgrade each one whenever this song is played, or whenever certain things happen. So it will go, first you start with this, then you go this, then you go this, or the vermin swarm go from this into this, and then they go from this into this. But if the stage 1 is already on the board, then you get a stage 2. If a stage 2 is already on the board, you get a stage 3. So it's like a compounding effect. So, and then in addition to that, every minion profile is going to gain the benefit of X once. So, and X is equal to the number of times the monster has performed this. So it's basically just a round counter, because it performs this at the start of every turn. So it's basically a round counter. So for the first turn, you're going to gain +1 speed. Then all minion profiles will have +1 speed. The second turn isn't listed here, so there's nothing to gain. You don't gain the number 1 again. 3, there's nothing. Then when you get to level 4, then it starts picking up, right? And then when you get to 10+, if it's still alive after 10 rounds, this 10+ is going to happen every time it performs it, right? Because 10+, 11 is 10+, 12 is 10+. So this is going to keep happening. So it's like a clock that makes it so you can't always do exactly what it is that you want, right? Because these things eventually, with +1 accuracy, +1 damage, it's like, that's just, you're not gonna be able to escape that, right? Eventually, it's just gonna do enough damage, regardless of how much you have, how much armor you have. If you're struggling, it's just going to be overwhelming, which is what the theme of the monster is anyway, to just be overwhelmed by these vermin. So that's the main mechanic. So let me see. Oh, that was the old one. The other one of its mechanics is this, the Dance Macabre mechanic here. So the monster is only instantly killed by a death blow. So normally monsters, when you kill them, regardless of death blow or not, they're instantly dead, right? Like the reactions don't trigger anymore. Nothing else happens. So in this case, if you don't kill with a death blow, stuff can still trigger. Your reactions are still going to trigger. All this will still trigger because it's not instantly killed. So if it's not a death blow, then you go down to this. This is the next flow of the card. And then you perform the Dance Macabre. And then Dance Macabre is Vermin explode out of the rotting monster as it crumbles to the ground. Remove the monster from the board. And in its place, or any open adjacent place any strange vermin currently missing from the showdown board. So that would mean all the ones that has been triggered throughout all the ones that you've placed on that board, on that strange vermin board, like the Sunstalker board. So as you let these things continually evolve, when this thing finally dies, if you don't kill it with a death blow, like you're gonna have a whole just horde of things all over. So with these other minions, hold on, I gotta go down now. The way that it works is, so this is the main one. Like I said, I showed the main one here, and then the next one that gets evolved into is this one. This is always stage 1. This is guaranteed to be the first one all the time, always. So you're always going to get this one. And this one's going to be a bigger one. It's going to be like a 2x2 monster. And this one has its own trigger effect. As you can see here, it gains deflect tokens. So it just becomes really hard to kill. The more time you let it hit you. So as this thing builds up speed, if it gets like 3 or 4 hits, it's going to be able to deflect 3. So that's kind of crazy. You don't want this thing on the board. And then this thing kind of like is going to act like it's a dung ball. It's a dung beetle dung ball, where the monster gets more benefits when this thing's around. So you'll never want this thing to be around for too long. And then I've got so much spam. I don't want to have to deal with it. I'm just going to have to close. I don't really want to have to close it, but moderating stuff is just not fun. So yeah, that's what I'll have to do. Yeah, it's the only way I can go back and do that, which is not super great, not super fun, but moderating sucks. So what else can I do except for go through it? What was I gonna say? Did I miss one? Is it still there? Deleted. Don't know why that one's still there. It should go away. Yeah, lots of bots. Alright, well, whatever. Didn't go away. I'll just raise up chat. I don't know why it didn't go away. So there we go. Yeah, normally it wouldn't be a problem, right? You get a lot of moderators. I just don't have moderators, so there we go. I just had to do it myself. Anyway, so back to this. So with King Arthro here, he's got himself. I had to do where is it? I had to do an AI card that shows all these different trigger effects. So each of these vermin will have an after damage trigger, like a status. This works as the way the hand does. The hand has after trigger statuses for like his lenses and stuff. They're all multicolored. They all go through certain stages. There's open and closed lenses. This one I have not figured out. There's going to be triggers. I'm going to try to work around it, but I might have to do some triggers when he's not under the condition, which is unfortunate because I don't know how to do that other than just like putting an X over it or something, saying that it checks to see if this condition's active. or inactive. With the hand, it just says like lenses open, lenses closed. With this, I don't want to have double trait cards, right? I don't want to have this flipped over all the time. That's so annoying. Not that anybody ever fights the hand anyway, but it's really annoying if you actually do try to fight him to constantly flip those cards and constantly juggle tokens. So I don't want to have to make this a static thing. I'd rather there be an easy, identifiable, like the Ghostbuster symbol, right? I could just use the Ghostbuster symbol over this. I could just do a red circle with a line through it. And then it just says if this is not checked, right? So it's a check to see if you don't have this status. And then you trigger something. And then when you do have the status, it also triggers something different. So I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I'd like to avoid having to track that much stuff, but the more cool stuff you want in a fight, the more triggers and stuff you have to have. Discard changes. I don't need that anymore. So that's the idea of how this all works. Now, to have the things that trigger on this, right? Like separation anxiety is like a green circle with an X. It's just a green circle with an X, and it says when you don't have separation anxiety or when you do have separation anxiety. But I don't want to like color every single card. That's really weird. The best way I've worked so far to do which cards will target which things would be to have a unique monster card or monster level, right? So normally with monster levels you have like a monster has like 10 or 12 basic AI cards, and then they got like 10 advanced and like 4 or 5 legendary ones, right? And as you level up, it's like 7 basic, and then next level's like 9 basic, and then it's like 12 basic, right? With this, instead of doing basic and advanced to make the monster have the certain amount of hit points I want it to have, I just have a lot of basic cards, right? There's like 15 basic cards, and the basic cards, so level 1 will have 10 basic cards, but then a level 2 will have 6 basic but 5 or 6 advanced cards. So by working it like that, where I know the level 1 is going to always have a ton of basic cards, the idea is the basic cards can target very specific vermin, the ones that the level 1 wants to, right? So the more of these blue that I want to happen, if I make only blue be pink and blue, or only basics AI cards be pink and blue, I'll know how to put them into the deck, right? It's like, well, I need more blue actions, so I'll just add more basic to the life total. I need less green and gold actions, so I'll remove some legendaries from the total. Or I don't even want the player to be concerned with green and gold actions, so I'm only going to put those on legendary cards. Or there's no way to spawn a red vermin. The only vermin that can spawn on level 1 are blue and pink. So those are just basic, and therefore level 1 will only have basic cards. That's the way that I've decided to do it when having to deal with multiple triggers that I don't want a player being like, why is this purple trigger? Did I miss something? Like, I don't want AP in there, so it's the best thing I could think of doing would be to just have certain cards target certain things. So now the idea is to make a whole bunch of blue based, well, not a whole bunch, I just need some to see if it even works. So before I can test tonight, the reason why I'm behind is, one, I need to make some ranged cards. For sure, 100% we're going to make some ranged attacks. 2, I need to get these blue basic triggers. Because then, even if the basic cards are always going to be there, and they're always going to be the most abundant, right? So even if a level 3 needs more blues to trigger, I can just up the amount, right? If I just make tons and tons of basic cards, say I make 20 basic cards, right? And then it's like, well, I need a level 1 to be 10 life, but I need a level 3 to be 6 life, or 16 life, but I still want blue to be in the majority. Then I can just do like a ton of basic. Or it's like, well, I want the level 2 to feel different, but I still need a ton of life on it, so then I need to make a ton of advanced cards. Then I can have like 10 advanced cards, 5 basic, right? Then he still takes 16 hits. But you're much less frequently dealing with the blue guy. and you'll be dealing with the red guy on a level 2, right? So you can change up the fight a lot without making traits. Because of this, monster works a lot on traits already. I've got 4 traits. The Dance Macabre where it explodes, this Court to track all the triggers, the Evolution Song, the Seething Vermin, and then there's a 5th one that's a level 3, maybe. I might even remove it. So, without usually traits and tokens and new statuses are what make a monster different. But I've lost that ability by having this being so unique, even at a level 1. So, the only variability I have left to play with is the variability in the basic AI and legendary cards. So, let's go. I can close this. I don't need this one open now. Let's go. So basics. Let's get some basics in there. Let's look for ones that could have. This has after damage. So this is a good one to do. No, this is not a good one to add a ranged attack to. This would be a good one to have a blue trigger on for the after damage. This is a great one for the blue trigger to be on. This is a good card. I've play tested this card. This one's like interesting and fun. There's another one that's interesting here too. This is such a basic card. I should mess with this one because this one's just not fun. Like it's not that it's not fun. It's just so basic. It's got nothing cool about it. This is one that should be arranged. Here's what we'll do. We'll mess with this one. We'll make this one a range here. I also spent a long time when I first made all these cards and updated all these cards to have unique names and play off the theme of this monster. I made sure to name all these things like super thematic, and I don't even know if anybody will ever get them without looking them up, and I don't expect people to Google every single name of every single AI card. But so this is stringendo is like it's like right before you hit max tempo. It's the part of a song that precedes like the what is it, the overture? No, what is a chorus is when it's sung, but you know the repeating thing. Is it the overture? Either way, so this is meant to be a really speedy attack. That's why it's got 3 speed for a basic action, because this is stringendo is the part where you increase the tempo of a song. So, and because this is supposed to be a song, specifically this is with instruments, not vocals. That's why I want to make it a ranged attack here. It's kind of a ranged attack without there being a range profile. Because before, without the range profile, you gave it unlimited movement, so that way it would feel like, oh man, it's going to hit me from wherever it is. But then it still moves to you, so it doesn't make any sense. So, we will now adjust that, luckily, which is grateful for that I took the time. I now have this template here for the range attacks. So, we're changing this up. Oh, this had dread on it. I think I removed dread. So dread's another mechanic that this monster has, which I haven't even dealt with. I'll see if I want these on AI cards. I haven't been able to test that mechanic out too much, just because it's only so many things you can test. So we want pick target to still have 2. So random threat, random survivor. Maybe we'll worry about the pick target. So, here we go. Move and attack target. This is what we're going to play with. Where is the new one? Let's load up the new one. Let's make a range attack profile. There it is. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to duplicate. And right there. There's our move into attack, move into range and attack profile. So we want this moved down. So we want move into range. On that, where I had it right there. So move into range. We want this to have a larger range for sure. We're going to give it probably a 5 range. Yeah, these are them. We want probably like a 5 range. And we still want speed to be high, because that's the purpose of the song. We can probably lower the speed or the accuracy now because it is a ranged attack. That's pretty threatening to begin with. So we're probably not going to want accuracy 4. That's pretty good. Depends on, well, I can do range 0. I can do the other interesting thing with this that's super cool. There's another AI card that's like this, but because this monster has all these vermin that do a lot of damage, I can do damage 0 attacks and still have triggers on them because they'll make the vermin do something. So like I could do damage. I could do after hit damage 0, and if this thing even hits you with speed 3, sure it's not gonna like destroy you because it's got no damage that it's doing, but you might still want to waste dodges and stuff because you might not want this thing, the after hit, to trigger, where it just sends the vermin after you, which is such a unique thing, and I'm excited to work with, to play around with the damage 0. Damage 0 stuff is, so even though it does no damage, it's still technically hitting you, it's just hitting you for 0. So it's such a cool concept. There's a lot of people who, I don't know. So there's a lot of rules as they should be played, which is if you get hit for damage 0 with an after hit, it should still trigger, but I know that's debated. There's a lot of people who think that getting hit with a damage 0 doesn't actually inflict damage, therefore it didn't score a hit, which I don't know why, but I guess we'll leave the damage 1 here for now. So accuracy 4+. It's pretty bad accuracy. It's probably going to be dodged quite a bit, but it is a speed 3. I could go to speed 5 with 5+. You figure move into range is probably going to get someone who might not be the person who's stacked with evasion, which is such a weird thing. Like the more I've done AI cards, Kingdom Death is a hard thing to balance for because you're not really the amount of, like, if this was a speed 1, this could do it's actually, you can see this in the croc, right? I don't know if Poots notices this, or I don't know what he thinks about it, but you can see in the croc, right? It's got that 10,000 Newton bite, which is like speed 1, 10,000 damage. It just doesn't matter. It's just a miss all the time. Speed 1 is always a miss because you're just going to dodge it. So it's such like a weird thing that the amount of damage that something does and doesn't do isn't really relevant to the accuracy of the attack. The accuracy is much more relevant, right? Which is another thing I want to explore with this monster is I might add the keyword haste, where this thing just gives speed to the vermin, but then there's another thing where, because haste itself is an AoE song, it will speed up the survivors, which could be detrimental or beneficial depending on what weapon you're using. Like, being next to him while he's singing a haste song, you end up with like 2 speed tokens and you've got guitars. That sucks. It's so speed and accuracy is so much weirder to play around with than damage. Like, I could make this damage 100 when speed 1 and it literally means nothing, because it's an accuracy 2+ damage 1,000 would be something, but an accuracy 4 damage 1,000 is basically nothing because the tank is probably going to have 3 or 4 evasion, so it's basically a 30% chance to hit. Such a weird thing. So making this 4+, but the fact that it targets someone in range might mean that he's not going to target the person who's adjacent to him, right? Because I could do the targeting for this and say furthest survivor and then not say in range. So if I just did furthest survivor, didn't matter if he's in range, he would full move and then maybe still get in range of him. And then it's like a way to anti-avoid, like a way to me to put on the cards here that just this would just never target the person the player naturally wants it to target, right? The high evasion people. And then all of a sudden, because I'm not targeting those people, accuracy 4+ is super threatening, right? But accuracy 4+ on the tank is like nothing. Such a weird balance. So if I make this a 2+, because then it's like, oh, I need to make this a 2+ because I want it to hit the person who's stacked with evasion, right? Fighting a level 3, you draw this with accuracy 4+, it's never going to hit, right? It's only going to hit on a 10+ probably. But making it a 2+ and then it doesn't target the evasion guy, then it's like I'm killing that. It's like, oh, this is the worst card ever. It's like you're cheating. You're like killing someone because it's a 3-speed, 1 damage, 2+. So weird. A lot of balance. It's so fun to think about stuff like that. So I think I'm going to leave it a 3+ and then just change it to after hit instead of after damage. Because then it doesn't matter. If it hits or doesn't hit, if it's targeting the tank or not, it doesn't matter. I still get the triggered effect, and the accuracy takes out of the equation. So if it does end up targeting a super high evasion person, then it's not a moot card, because then maybe one of them will still hit on a 7+ or 8+. So we'll go 5-speed, 3-speed, 4+, 1 damage, changes to after hit. Where is the after damage trigger group? We want we're probably going to want 1 line. We don't need the unlimited movement on this thing anymore. It's not necessary now that it's got a range attack profile. I can get rid of that. That frees up space. The other thing I could do... okay, let's not worry about the after damage right now. All right, well, I'm going to change it to after hit, but let's not worry about how it reads. I was just trying to think about how I want to word it. But for now, what we're just going to do is we're actually going to change it to after hit. Now I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's capital. Yeah, after hit. And we want the trigger. Now I forget. What is the trigger? We want this to be... I forget what this actually is. Pretty sure it's like... M, was it? No. N? Well, now we just got to find the movement one, which I don't remember at all what it was. There it is. Is it Y? I. And we want this to be the blue trigger. Okay. So this will be the blue condition on an after hit. meaning that we want that crab on the board. So let me save this quick. So we want this blue thing on the board. Now we'll change this to the other thing is I could do weird stuff with it too. I could have multiple triggers for an after hit, right? I could do 2 checks. Well, we're gonna do just the blue here. So that's the first. Let's get. We'll go down to the effect here. We want 1 line's good enough, I think. How do we want to word? We want to word this as we want. I don't know if place is a keyword. I don't remember. I don't think place is bolded. I'd have to look on cards. Okay. It's too big. So we can't do 1 line. We're gonna have to do 2 lines. Two lines. Why it's way off center either, but move it back. That seems fine. So this will make him follow when he moves to range. The other thing, the other thing I can do well, I don't want this to be random anymore because I want to make sure it hits someone. Let me save. Oh, I gotta change this symbol. Blah. Where is this? Symbol needs to be changed. All right. Now, pick target. This is what I wanted to mess with. So I don't know if I want it to be random. Randomly picking target is probably not the best for this. Probably going to want... I can go, this would be interesting. Last survivor to wound is always an interesting one. This would at least make it so someone's probably still within range of this. And it still does let you play around it by letting the tank still be a target, because you could wound less with the tank. So there's still flexibility there. I also wonder... if I want to make it in range. I think it would be fine. Yeah, I think it's best if this says in range. Random survivor. Random survivor can cause wacky things. Not going to have it have unlimited movement anymore, so random survivor doesn't really make sense. I could do just last survivor to wound in range, and then just farthest threat, or farthest survivor in max range. Max range is not really a thing. No, it definitely... Right. Farthest survivor in range would be fine for this. I think those are two perfectly acceptable triggers for this, or for targets for this. Now we don't want max movement. It's not a thing we're looking for anymore. I don't think I really want... No, I don't want it to have max movement. It doesn't make any sense. We want... We want something like, if possible, or for this attack, the monster attacks from max range. Move the monster to max range, I think. If possible, monster attacks from max range, right? For this attack, if possible... That will mean that you will move it so it is 5 spaces away. You move it to someplace where it so even say it targets someone who's adjacent to them, then it would back up 5 spaces. That's basically how I want this to read. I think that's how it would read. That's how I would read that. Yeah, that's how I would read it. Because I don't want to give it a trait that... I thought about making another trait that just reads that all the time. Like the Kingsman has that, outfighting, where it just always says the monster will stop 1 spot short. I could always say this monster always attacks from max range. Again, that takes me down the road of having way too many traits. Sure, it saves the AI card space, but then you have just like more traits. Traits are all fine and good. Like, Gorm has a lot of traits. Like, doesn't Gorm level 3 have a ton of traits? Pretty sure Gorm level 3 has like, Spidicules has tons of moods, but they're constantly replacing themselves. Movement times 2. Yeah, I think I gave this monster 6 movement. But yeah, movement times 2 would also solve it. I think if I was reading this, I would read it as you move the monster so it's 6 spaces away, or 5 spaces away from the... So that way, if it targets someone who's adjacent, you back it up 5 squares. Right? Or you can take the monster controller to decide where to move it, but it's going to move it 5 spaces away because it has 6 movement. That's how I would read this card. It is possible that there's another interpretation of this, but I'll look. That's why I'm playtesting. That's why I post stuff, so I can get other thoughts on it. But if I were to read that, and the clause of it, if possible, meaning that if the last survivor to wound was not in range, and you had to select one that you couldn't, that if you were in a corner or something, you would still attack, right? You wouldn't not attack because you couldn't get max range. Say you were in a corner and you moved away, or you moved into a corner, right? The monster controller could move you into a corner or move you into terrain and stop the monster or something. It's still going to attack. But I think that if possible would make it so you would not do that, right? Because if you stopped it short, that would mean it was possible to get at max range. You can't do that. You would need to move it to max range because it was possible. I think that's how it works. Now I gotta look at Manhunter again. Manhunter, I think, has 1 card that moves him at max range. I had to look at all the AI cards for Manhunter now. I think there's one where where it says move to max range, or move directly away from all survivors, yet still in range, I think is what it says, or something. I don't know. His gun might also have infinite range. I forget. which is a problem. If his gun has infinite range, then yeah, you could say move directly away from all survivors. And then, because it has infinite range, you wouldn't need to worry about it. The other thing I could do is make this have 7 range, because he has 6 movement, and then say move directly away from all survivors, and you would still be in range. That's another possible thing. Then it turns into an antelope situation where you just don't want to mess with this thing without dash. But this is only a 1 card. I could make more cards like this. But I think this is fine. Now the other thing here is, do we want to have something else besides King Arthro on this? So let's close this. Let's talk about more different things. So let's hide that card. Let's just go, what is it? There are other ones. So this pink trigger also is dependent on King Arthro being on the board. So the pink trigger would also be fulfilled if that other one was fulfilled. So I could... no, I don't want any of those. Where's the special traits? Pink here is the spider. This one I might also want to alter. This is one I haven't had a chance to really look at as much. This is kind of harsh here. I don't know if I want that to be a thing. I think it's probably better to not... So, I could have this trigger too. I could have this minion do something. If this... I could perform minion action. That's what so I could do that. How to word that, though? Let's go back to dramatic stringendo. So let's explore this and see how it looks. So we want this move into range, and we want this triggering group. We want this effect here. No, this here. We don't want the description. We want this symbol. So what we would want this to do, let's see what it looks like if I have multiples of this thing. Right? Let's say I have another one. Oops. Well, first off, I'd want to put a space, and it wouldn't fit with a space. Do I want to put a space? Maybe I don't put a space. Now we move back to description. Let's see what this looks like. Now there's 2 cases. Oh man, I need to get some Kingdom Death terrain. I don't have it. I feel bad. I should really be getting some of that terrain, the STL files and stuff. But I don't have a 3D printer. I need to get a 3D printer. But yeah, I wish I had some terrain to paint for Kingdom Death. I have Lonely Tree to paint. I don't particularly like the Lonely Tree model. I need to paint it, but so let's see. We've got our 2 things here. It doesn't look terrible. Let's go ahead and add a second want, so what do we got? We want triggering group. It's the trigger, so we need another one of these to duplicate, move down. Let's move, bloop, 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 bloop. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's see. So this is the second one. We got the symbol here. Let's change the color on this. This will be this color. And this is going to do something different. We want this one to perform minion action. Now, the other thing I could do, well, yeah, I don't know if I want to paint the tree. The tree looks great when it's painted, though. The tree really looks good when it's painted. I just don't know. Yeah, the tree looks really good when it's painted. I've seen some really nice ones when it's painted, but I just don't know how I would want to paint it. And I also just don't like using it when I'm playing and recording. It gets in the way. It's huge, and it just looks weird when I'm recording because of the angle. I don't do a top-down. So if I did a top-down, maybe I'd use it, but I don't. I use like a at the seat, like at the table view, because everyone else always does top-down with board games. I wanted to do it a little bit back, so you feel like you're at the table more. And with that, it blocks the view. The stupid trees all over the place. So this is definitely bolded, minion action. That's not how you spell it. Wasn't it G-I-U? I don't remember how to spell Guinevere. Let me go look here really quick how it was that I spelled it. So, yeah, Guinevere is such a weird name. Quickly spell it. It is G-U-I-N. That is how it was. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's go ahead and save this. So now, go back to what it was. It's going good. I have to get this all ready. So the thing is, I have to get this ready for... let me move this up now. I can move this up. Ooh, sorry. I have to get this ready because I won't be able to play right on time for tonight's CGG testing game. I have to start late because I have something I have to do before I do this. So if I were to stream regularly, like I was originally, I put up a post, and surprisingly, all votes were for me to do this instead. So that's what I did. But if I were to play the regular game, which I have to end here in 10 minutes, so we finished one card. There's still more I have to do. I have to import all these to Tabletop Simulator and everything. But if I didn't do this now, I wouldn't have any of these cards to test. So I only have one AI card now to test, but at least I have everything else done. Because I was a little bit behind. So aside from that, it's going good. So this looks good. I don't know how else to word that. So yeah, I don't know how else to word that. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Both those are pretty straightforward. It looks like the two triggers are right. I am designing a monster for CCG. This is the basic actions, and I have to do the playtest game tonight, and I am late. I won't be able to start right on the time we normally do, so I'm going to get less playtest time. So if I would have streamed regularly, that would have eaten up all my time. Then I would have had to eat into my playtest time, making these to have something to test. So that is why I had to do this instead of doing season 3, which is what I normally would have done. So this looks good. I think this is fine. I'll have to see how it triggers when I play tonight. I'm trying to think, is there any other way of wording that? Everything here seems pretty straightforward, if you ask me. Seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't know how else I can word this. If it gets wonky, I'll reword it. All right. So this is going to perform 2 different things when it checks. I think that's fine. We'll save this. All right. Is there anything else that I really needed to get done besides having this, at least a card to test the triggering for? Let's go over all the basic actions. Let's look for another one. So dramatic string endo's done. This can have a little trigger next to it, so I got to mark that I did it. So this is version 2. Now, let me save that this is completed. Overwhelm here. This needs to be changed. This is also not the best card here. Very high speed here too, with 3+1 accuracy. This card could probably be completely redesigned. It's just so basic. Let's go to the next one. This one is Heal 1. Survivor with consumable gear. Not bad. This one's a little bit less basic. This becomes a trait. Let's see, this should just be... It's fine, I guess. That's a really wordy one. I don't want to mess with that one now. This is another 0 damage one. Which, like I said, 0 damage is... Oh, man, I banned that person. How? Just how? Okay, well, there we go for that. Spam. Okay. It's a different name, that's why. There we go. Okay. So Manhunter, no, we don't want that. Everlasting Requiem, this is a good one. This one is Perform Song of Generations. Okay, this is another damage 0. This is a random threat in range. So, this should be another one that it's changed. I just don't have time. 3:30 is when I was supposed to start. Oh, it's 4:30. Oh my gosh. Let me look at the other ones here. This one's a neat one. Infection of Saliva is really neat. A lot of stuff going on there, though. Vermin Madrigold. This is a cool one. This AI card is really cool. So, yeah, with this AI card, the monster gets buffed if you dodge, and if you don't take this 1 damage, the monster gets buffed, which is an interesting thing. I should do more like this Vermin Madrigold. So Vermin Madrigal is one I should do. Oh, wait, a Vermin. Here we go. This is another one. So many things I have to change. I just don't have time. Vermin Madrigal is such a cool card. I should make more like that one. What ones did I say I should do? Or Everlasting Requiem. This is one that really needs to change for basic action. This is one that I should adjust. All right. Yeah. 3 more cards. I don't know if I have time to do. I have to get 3 more cards done. But at the same time, I got to get the backs on all these cards. And then load all these in the Tabletop Simulator. Okay. So I have to stop. I can't do any more creating. I need to get all these done. I need to get these off and into Tabletop Simulator. So sorry so much for cutting it short like so abruptly. I wanted to redo this 1 card here too, but I'm just running out of time. And I have to get, like I said, I have to get the stuff in the Tabletop Simulator, and I won't have time to do it. If I wait, it will eat into the time I actually get to play test. And I'd much rather spend the time I have playtesting. So, hopefully it was enjoyable. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to do this rather than the next episode. We'll fight Kingsman on next live stream on Tuesday. We'll fight Kingsman level 1 for season 3. Maybe if I have time, maybe I'll stream this game tonight. If I have time, if I get everything set up before I have to start, but most importantly is getting time actually playtesting, more so than yeah, I know that's really cool. That's one of the best cards. The Vermin Madrigal is one of the best cards. This is such a good card that it makes you not want to dodge it. This was noted when we played. So on the actual live stream, we had this card come up, and this was one of the ones. I don't have my notes here, or do I have my notes here? I think I actually do have my notes when I took them. Oh yeah, see, I didn't. There's another thing on here I didn't get. I do have my notes, but there's something else I need to do still too. But this was one of the ones that was noted. I'm gonna make more of them that are like this card. And there's hit location cards too that I also... There was some pretty good hit location cards which I'm going to duplicate. Yes, the high evasion builds, this kind of punishes them. So this is a really good card. I like this card, but for now, I'm gonna end. I gotta put all these up on the drive. I gotta get all these turned over, put onto cards, and ready for Tabletop Simulator. So, thank you so much for watching. Season 3 will continue on Tuesday. The next episode of Season 2 I should have up on Saturday, maybe Friday night. So, look forward to that too.